Yeah. Okay, let's start. Today I have a very good pleasure to chat with Milan. I forgot your surname, but Milan is such a great person. I met at Network State School with Balaji for a month, and I got to know his fascinating story. He was working at the central bank of Netherlands, Dutch central bank, and then on the same time running an anonymous, pseudonymous Twitter account named after Mira Hurley, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And somehow you got caught, and then you decide to quit and start a new journey on building nanograph. But before that, can you share a little bit about your story with Dutch Central Bank and
yeah,
all this fun part with Mira?
yeah. So I worked at the Dutch Central Bank. I started there in 2018 with this sort of young professional program. So you do a few different jobs within the bank. But I was already very into crypto since before that, since like 2012. So I still wanted to discuss crypto. But if you work at a central bank, then whenever you discuss crypto, people will be like, oh, you're like a central bank shill and we don't trust what you say.
Oh,
So I figured, okay, I need to be anonymous on Twitter, but also I don't want the central bank to know that I'm doing this. So like for both sides, I wanted to be anonymous. So I
mhm.
set up the Mira Hurley account to be able to discuss crypto anonymously, essentially. So that was the origin of Mira. I just generated a random image on this person does not exist
Mhm.
to get an image that looked nothing like me, which worked, I think. And then just decided, okay, she looks Canadian. Let's give her a Canadian name. I used like a random name generator, Canadian name. And so, yeah, I think that account started in like 2019, I'm guessing,
Okay.
and was still working at the central bank at the time. And then after a while at the central bank, I got reported by, I think, a Bitcoin maxi to the central bank.
It's so crazy to think about it.
It felt very weird, like the Bitcoin maxi working together with the central
The,
bank
the
to,
government, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
principal there, not the principal for him, or
No, I
yeah.
don't think so. But yeah, so they reported me to the central bank essentially and told them this employee of yours, and they had a whole log of what times I posted and correlating it with Dutch working hours and then collecting the tweets that were most anti-central bank and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent that to the central bank to try and get them to fire me or to get me to stop posting essentially. But yeah, the central bank was super chill about it, to be honest. They were like, okay, we don't go for this sort of blackmail. So we're just going to ignore this, but just be aware there are people out there who really
Also
want to
hurt.
hurt you. uh,
Oh my
but yeah,
god.
they were surprisingly chill about it, to be honest.
Wow,
They,
I'm so surprised. The bank is acting like the good guy, or the
yeah,
imagination
yeah.
is so different, but wow. But did the bank after that, did they fire you or did you quit on your own turn? How was the
No,
leaving?
they didn't fire me. In fact, I think I got reported even before I worked on crypto at the central bank. And afterwards, I started working on crypto at some point because the word spread within the central bank that I knew a lot about crypto. I
Mhm,
think partially because I got reported, maybe. So they didn't fire me. They were like, okay, clearly a lot about crypto. We need someone who knows about crypto because they were setting up an international working group to
mhm.
discuss
Okay.
crypto, and the Dutch central bank was leading that effort. So
Mhm.
they needed a crypto expert, and they didn't really have that many within the central bank, obviously. And it's hard for a central bank to attract people that know a lot about crypto. So they asked me like, okay, is this something you would be interested in? So no, they didn't fire me. If
Oh
anything, it
wow.
kind of helped me working more on crypto within the central bank.
That is insane. I'm getting a better understanding of Dutch bank now. I'm respecting them.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
they are not the bad guys, basically.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
quite funny. On another podcast, someone was like, clearly whoever reported you has never spoken to a Dutch person because Dutch people are clearly just, oh, that's fine. You do whatever you want.
that's so cool and chill about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, look, I don't know if you heard the recent podcast with Anderson, like the with Joe Rogan, and he was saying about debunking, and I thought maybe Milan also experienced some debunking issue, like you would have a lot of trouble to have another bank account after this episode, but looks like you don't have any issues with
No,
it.
not that much. I've had to do my KYC with the banks that I use like 5 times now, I think. But
Oh,
I don't think that's anything to do with me specifically, because I know of others who also had to do it and they are not into crypto. It's just
yeah.
Dutch banks are very big on KYC, AML. It's really annoying. But no, I don't think I have had any issues with debanking or anything of the sort.
Yeah, I don't have issues with the banking, but when I was working for a crypto exchange, the bank, the Japanese bank, would not accept the payments from this crypto exchange as a salary. And when I asked them the reason, they say compliance reason. And I told them I can give you a contract or I can do more KYC, and they didn't accept. So I couldn't get any fiat for I think 3 months, and I couldn't find like a bank friendly for crypto for
Yeah.
these 3 months, and I was living on crypto, and I was like, life is hard in Japan to live on crypto. I need cash. Stuff work here mostly with cash for
Yeah,
credit.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was really hard. Yeah.
I think in the Netherlands, there's one bank which wants to be a lot more crypto friendly, but
Mhm.
it's just hard because of regulations. So I think even in the Netherlands, it would be hard to get money directly from an exchange and have them see that as salary, I think.
Yeah.
But I never had a sort of salary directly from crypto.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't
You
know.
don't
Then
have
it
that.
would probably be harder.
Yeah. But I'm talking back in 2020. So now maybe Japanese banks are easier in that sense,
Mm,
um, but still very hard with compliance. And even the banks have very old systems. So I don't think they are very open or friendly to crypto in general. So
yeah.
I hope that changes with the time, honestly. In your experience, Milan, since you worked in a central bank, and I think you did a lot of monetary policies, at least where I studied economics back in, I don't know, 10 years ago, our professor would say inflation is good and we want to have inflation. We don't like deflation. And I thought at the time, it's not so logical. Why do you want inflation and why do you want to print new money at the time? And then I realized about Bitcoin and so on. And I thought recently I was reading the Milton Friedman of Free to Choose, the book of capitalism and free markets. And I was thinking, is there any good monetary policy that banks have done in years? Or what are they doing actually? Is society getting any benefits from monetary policy? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think the big thing with monetary policy or inflation is it always depends on who is the money going to, right? Because in Bitcoin, there's also inflation in a sense, because you have every block creates a few new Bitcoin, and
Yes.
then that goes to the miners, right? And
Yeah.
then in fiat currencies like euros and yen, it's the same because new money is being created. But the more important question is, who is it going to?
Mm.
Because if we just said we have inflation and everyone gets 10% more money, for example, then nothing really happens, right? Because all of the proportions are still the same. If everyone has
Yeah.
10% more, then it's just you change a number essentially.
Yeah.
But I think the sort of weird thing about inflation is there's this redistribution going on, because you have people who are seeing their money become worth less, and
Mhm.
then you have others who are getting more of the new money. So it's a sort of hidden redistribution that's going on, which I think if that's something you want to do, then it should be just with taxes or something, but not with a central bank, which usually isn't like democratically elected. It's very intransparent where the money is going to. Usually the sort of poorer people who are most impacted by inflation because they hold a larger percentage of their net worth in cash. The very rich people, they just hold stocks and assets pretty much instead of cash. So I feel like it's a very unfair redistribution system, inflation. I don't know if it's always bad or always been bad. There's probably some situations where it was like either the entire financial system collapses or we
Yeah.
print more money, because that's the way the current system works. In essence, it's just a very unfair system and a very intransparent system.
Mhm.
Whereas with crypto, it's like very clean. You can see everything that happens, where the new money is going, you know what the inflation rate is.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, I think it's just a cleaner system.
I think so too. I have this discussion with elderly people and also like my parents. And when I tell them that we can see actually everything happening in blockchain, and they get this weird thing that This is not private. I don't want people to know how much money I have. That would be crazy for my safety. And I said, but actually, people don't know who you are because the address is. It's not like Ina is the owner of this.
Yeah.
Yes, you know me, but they cannot accept that logic that everything is open on blockchain and you can see this in real life.
Yeah, yeah. May-
Crazy.
Maybe
Yeah.
they would like Monero, right? Or Zcash.
Probably they
Uh,
don't even know Monero or they don't even know BTC. They heard of it. So my
yeah,
dad
yeah.
always thinks that I work for BTC. What is your daughter doing? She's working for BTC. She's working for Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is a company or something.
That's so funny.
Dad, Bitcoin is not a company. Yeah, but people don't know that. I also don't know that. So I think you work for Bitcoin. He always tells that.
It's quite funny, right? Because we are surrounded by people who know a lot about crypto and who are really into this. And then you forget just how little other people know about it. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I sometimes have this with people where talking about Bitcoin and the way they think Bitcoin works is like definitely not the way Bitcoin works. Yeah, it's like a bank transfer, right? It's like
Yeah,
you just send it to, I can send
yeah.
some money now to you and then you have it immediately and it's like free. I'm like, sadly, that's not exactly how it works. Like it takes a bit longer. And then other people I've had to explain that Dogecoin is in fact not being created by Elon Musk. Like
They have
but
said that? Oh, wow.
what if Elon Musk decides to create more Dogecoin? I'm like, no,
He didn't
that's
do it on
not how.
first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Um,
God.
it's funny.
Yeah, so hard to explain to them about it. Or they have a bad image because at some point, like Bitcoin was used for like money laundering and stuff.
Yeah,
The gangs, oh no, we don't want to be part of crime or something like nothing to
yeah.
do with crime. And this is pure mathematical logic, and
It's I think many people have this idea of crypto of it being used a lot for money laundering or
yeah,
it being full of scams. And there probably is some money laundering done via crypto, but I think it's a lot more via the traditional system. But then also the scams in crypto. Yes, there are a lot of scams
yeah,
in
there are
crypto. Like
scams. Yeah,
sadly, that's just true. So it's sometimes for me also within the central bank was very hard to explain to people the value in crypto and like how well it actually works and all the good it can do, while at the same time being like, yes, there's also Shiba Inu and or I don't know, dog with hat and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Or
It's all
yeah,
my money there.
yeah,
I'm putting all my money there. I don't know, but I think now crypto is getting very popular and people have heard it, but they don't understand it. And I see it in, I come from Albania, so it's a developing country. And now people are, especially young people, not like elderly, are very into Bitcoin and Ethereum and trying to understand this payment, especially for sending
hmm,
remittances
yeah,
since we have a large immigration base abroad in USA or Europe, and now they're trying to explore different possibilities of sending money to their parents or to their families. And I notice not just in Albania, but in general in developing countries, I think India and Philippines, you have. And I wonder, what do you think, Milan, these developing countries think? Why are they more encouraged or why they want to create or use crypto more than the developed countries.
yeah. I think so the remittances, for example, the fees are usually quite high, right? I think
Yeah.
back when I worked at the central bank, the IMF released this report on the cost of remittances worldwide. And I think on average it was like 6%. Like
Oh wow.
6% of what you sent would be eaten away in fees. And then obviously we know with crypto you can do it a lot cheaper, right? I can
Yes.
send some money to someone in Kenya and it's okay, it's there within a second and it's
Mm.
zero fees or very low fees. So I think it just makes sense if people
Yeah.
understand crypto enough. It's just a better way to do things. And at the same time, I think it's used more in those sort of countries because their own system doesn't work as
Mm.
well as our system does. To be honest, in the Netherlands, if you transfer from bank to bank, the money is there immediately and you don't pay any fees or you don't see any fees at least. Whereas in many other countries, like developing countries, it probably just doesn't work that yet with the
Yeah.
banks,
Yeah.
or they don't trust their banks because they have bank failures or just
Yeah.
corrupt bankers or whatever.
Basically, yeah.
So yeah, so I feel like in many of those countries, crypto is just a lot clearer in why it makes sense. Whereas in the Netherlands, it's hard to explain to people like, yeah, you can transfer for free. And people are like, ah, we can do that. And I also
Because
think,
it works well probably there already, and it's more open. I'm not sure if that's the good term to use, because I know banks are not very transparent. Or are they?
no,
Yeah.
no, but I guess there's more trust in the banks in the Netherlands maybe than in like Kenya, or
Yeah.
Argentina is also a good
Yeah.
example, because people there are very strongly aware of the issues that banks have had 10 times in the past 20 years, pretty much. They know their own money is being debased, whereas in the Netherlands, it's okay, we have 1% inflation or 2%. And then
Mhm.
Argentina is okay, we have 10% per month, pretty much. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
for many countries, also Nigeria and such, it's just a lot more obvious why crypto is good, and it's a bigger improvement on what they have. So
Mhm.
to me, it makes sense that it would be adopted there in the first place, and that Western countries, Europe, US, Japan, are actually later, probably just because the
Yeah.
current system is good enough in many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it makes
I
sense to
think
me.
so. And maybe the age of population plays a role too. Like I see it in Japan, since we have older population, most of the people want to use cash actually. If you go to the countryside, I'm not talking about Tokyo, but I'm talking really countryside, like farms and villages, you buy in cash. If you want to buy something, you will buy in cash. You have the bank, of course. You can still use sometimes credit card or debit cards, but cash is the king. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
and if you try to explain crypto to them, I think it's very hard to adapt to make this population or this age group to understand about crypto. And I think they would also fall more prey of scams,
yeah.
um,
I think
because
so
they
too.
wouldn't know how to use the secret phase, secret or passwords and stuff like that. And I think that in developing countries, the population is younger. So
Hmm.
that is another factor that might contribute to this usage of crypto and
Yeah.
remittances. Yeah.
It's a really good point. I never thought about it, but yeah, many of the African countries have a different population pyramid, of course. Like Japan is the extreme in, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like the other way around, upside
The
down
other way
pyramid.
around,
It
upside
kind of
down.
makes sense, yeah. The more young people you have, the
Mhm.
easier it is to get new tech adopted. Yeah.
Yeah, adoption in crypto is very hard. I see it on
Yeah.
Farcaster. Like, I tried to onboard, I have onboarded maybe 5 friends already, and some of them understand crypto well and some don't, but they don't get the point of Farcaster as a point, as a system of owning your own data, for example, or having this social thing like Twitter. They think it's nonsense. Why should they use Farcaster when they can use Twitter or TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's hard to make them see a value. I find it hard to argue or to put them on the other side. Do you experience this as well with the adaptation, Milan? For not
Yes.
for podcaster, but I just as an example, like in general for crypto.
Yeah, yeah. So one crypto community I'm very active in and have been for a long time is Nano. And one of the
Yes.
things it obviously one of the things it does is it's like instant transactions at zero fees. And it's always really cool to show off to people, right? Because you like send them something and it's in their wallet immediately from like Singapore to Japan, you have it immediately.
Oh
But
yeah,
then
so
many people are like,
yeah.
yeah, many people then are like, okay, and now what do I do with it? Okay, cool,
Yeah.
you can send me 5 cents, but like, why should I care? So I onboarded tons of people, like tens of thousands, I think by now,
Oh
because we
wow.
would do giveaways on Reddit and such, where we
Mhm,
sent everyone like 5 cents. Like, just if you want to
mhm.
try it out, here's 5 cents, and then you can just experience crypto, make your first wallet, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But the question is always, okay, but what does it do for me?
Mhm.
And I think so. Yeah, we'll probably talk about this, but the website we started, we also created it to show you can use small amounts of crypto and get actual use out of it, which
Mhm.
you wouldn't be able to do with any sort of traditional currency. Because if you want to pay 5 cents to someone, for example, you
Yeah.
cannot do that with a credit card because the fees are higher than
Higher.
what you're
Yeah.
paying. And with crypto, that's like really easy. So I don't know, that's one way that I'm trying, or we're trying to make it clear to people that crypto can be valuable. And then
Yeah.
I think the other way to show people how crypto can be valuable is just explaining. Many people don't really even know what inflation is, I think, but
Mhm.
just explaining, okay, you can either have this currency that is, they're printing more of it every year and your
Yeah.
money is then becoming worth less, or you have crypto where it's like not possible to print more. And I think
limited supply, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of value in both of those sides. And I think, yeah, it is sometimes hard to explain to people why they should care. I also think a lot of the UX in crypto is just really bad,
Yeah, it is.
because if I'm explaining to my parents or my grandma, okay, how do you send this money? And they're like, what is a gas fee? It's,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, okay. And then it's, okay, you have to set your priority. And it's like, what do you mean priority? I just want my transaction to happen immediately. I don't want to think about how much do I want to pay for this transaction. Uh,
Yeah, that's
so
that's a good
I,
point. Uh-huh.
I think there's still a lot of UX stuff that's just really not that great in many crypto. And that is already for many people quite good in traditional banking systems. But we have crypto where it works really well. We just need to make them be
Yeah.
used more.
Yeah, now that you say that, something I thought about is that people have been used to have other people in control of their money. By putting your money in the bank, like, you don't worry about doing the transactions because the staff there will do it for you. But when you do crypto, you will own your own wallet and you will own your own passwords, and then you will do the transaction and then approve and confirm and sign all the things.
Yeah.
And this mentality switch, I think, is hard for many people to understand, that actually you can control your own money, and they're like, what, why, this is
Yeah.
extra work, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
It's
bit like
crazy.
going back to cash in a way, because
Yeah,
with cash, it was just you in control. Like, you have it in your hand and you hand it to someone.
yeah,
And if you hand it to someone and they run away with it, there's no one you can go to be, you can go to the police, of course, but they're
yeah.
not able to just go, yeah, we'll reverse it. It's no, that's not
No,
possible
you
because,
cannot do that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a very good point. Okay, let's talk now about your beautiful project, the NanoGPT. Can you tell us a little bit more what NanoGPT does exactly, how it works under the hood
yeah.
on?
So essentially, NanoGPT is one place where people can access all the different AI models on one interface. So you have, of course, ChatGPT, but there's also Claude and Grok and Perplexity, all those kind of AI models. And normally you would need to have a subscription to be able to use the top models or to be able to use
Yeah.
them a lot, for example. But it's quite expensive for many people because $20 a month to someone in Kenya, for example, is quite expensive. And also, some people really dislike the idea of I pay with my credit card to ChatGPT. There's my name on there and everything. And then
Yeah.
all the prompts I type, which can be very personal or I don't know, medical
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
for example, all
I
of
did
that
a
is
lot
like,
of bad mistakes like that.
yeah. So it's,
No
yeah,
privacy.
yeah, exactly. It's a bit scary, right? How much
Yeah.
information they're getting. So what we created was essentially a way that you can use all of the different models without needing any subscription. You just pay for what you use and
Mhm.
you have actual privacy because we do not store anything. Also take crypto payments, obviously. So there's no name even attached to it. So even if we wanted to, we couldn't link it to any name.
Mhm.
So it's like we try and build in a few layers of privacy so that people can use these models without feeling like all their data is being linked to them and stored everywhere. And also, we want to allow people who don't have $20 a month to still use the top models when
Mhm.
they want to or when they feel like it's
Mhm.
most useful. So we have users who literally just put 10 cents into our website and
Mm.
then they use, I don't know, ChatGPT or Grok or something to check their cover letter that they're sending for an interview or to check the code that they've written and be like, okay, give me
Yeah.
feedback on this or ask a medical question, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it adds a lot of value for people and you wouldn't be able to do the sort of 10 cents deposit and use it without crypto. The only reason it works is crypto, low transaction fees and stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, we started building this a while ago and it's been growing pretty quick, especially lately.
Mhm.
So yeah,
How
it's
many
been fun.
users do you have currently?
Yeah. So we have to not release the numbers on the number of users
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it's two reasons. The first is competitors would love to have the information. The second is we're actually getting reached out to by VCs and
Oh
investors
yeah.
now. So
Sure.
we have to be a bit careful with where we release information. But to be honest, it's growing really quick. It's like we're growing way quicker than we had
Yeah.
expected.
You thought.
It like doubles every 2 weeks now, pretty much more even.
Is it possible also to pay by other type of payment, like credit card or PayPal and stuff?
Yeah, we added credit cards about a month ago, a bit over a
Mhm.
month ago. First, we had only Nano, like Nano GPT. We started it taking payments in just Nano because we think it's the best way to do payments. Then we added a few more crypto payment options and also credit cards. So I would say by now you can use pretty much any crypto like that people actually use on our website, or credit cards. We might add PayPal and Apple Pay, all that kind of stuff later as well. But for now, we feel like with credit cards and crypto, you have a big portion of the world at least.
Definitely.
Yeah, so now we're not focusing on payment methods anymore, but just making the site better in general.
So can we say that actually NanoGPT is like a decentralized version of ChatGPT where people have control of their privacy? Is
Yeah,
this more?
yeah, in many ways. But I would say ChatGPT, the difference is with ChatGPT, you have just the one model, right? ChatGPT is the model. And we want to offer any model so that people can just choose what they want to use. I think we have well over 100 models at this point.
Oh, okay.
And then ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok and such are the well-known ones. But we also have ones that are very uncensored. So people made their own versions of the models where they remove all of the filtering and all of the censoring.
Okay. Yeah.
Or there are models that are very well suited for role playing and storytelling and those kinds of subjects. Others are very specialized for coding or very specialized for, I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. Each model has a specific, but so how that actually works? If I put a prompt there, I say review this code, this send it, let's say, to Grok or to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT reviews it and then returns you the reply. That's how it works.
Yeah. So it depends on which model you select, where we send the
You can
prompt.
select the model there basically. Which okay, that's
Oh wait, you didn't see that you could select the model?
No, I didn't. I tried to do some basically most of my stuff are for writing, so
yeah, need to make it a lot clearer, I think, that you can change the model, because I've heard this a few times now and we keep trying to change the model selection to make it clear that you can choose other models. But if you click ChatGPT at the bottom left, you get this sort of drop down of other models that you can choose from. But so essentially it's just whatever model people choose, depending on which model they choose, we send the prompt to either OpenAI for ChatGPT or Anthropic for Claude, for example, or to XAI if people choose, and then we return the response that way.
Okay, maybe I can share the screen and we can try it now live. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
It would be so cool, and you can tell me where I can do that.
Yes.
One moment, please, because
Yeah, we definitely need to make it clear that you can change the model. I've tried 3 different ways of making it clear that you can change the model, but apparently none of them work very well.
So I'm trying to open the NanoGPT. Are you able to see this?
Yeah, I see it.
So here, what shall we ask?
If you click ChatGPT,
here.
then you see a
wow.
whole list of models that you can use, and you can sort by like math or coding or anything you want.
Yeah. Math and coding.
Or if you want to have a review of your code, I think you can even scroll down probably in the list. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you click more, for example, any model you can think of, we literally have it. We even have all the sort of Chinese models that you cannot access anywhere else. But yeah, you can just pick any model, like, for example, just pick one. And
What
then
shall we ask? Llama 3.1 large.
So this one is actually funny because this one we run on a decentralized backend. So we use a crypto network in the background. So every query is sent to this network, and then it distributes it over a bunch of different computers so that it can never go down, is the thinking. It's like a more robust way of doing it.
Okay, maybe for overall, maybe I shouldn't use Llama. I can use.
You can, ChatGPT works. It's the one that everyone knows.
Yeah. I think we both know the answer of this, but it's fun. Just from Coinbase. Let's see what it says.
I wonder how up to date it is, if it knows about Base.
Oh, it knows. It's
there
a
you go.
layer 2. Here you go. Pretty cool.
But yeah, so we built this a while ago, and
Yeah.
for many purposes, ChatGPT is just the best. But for example, others are better at math. So yeah, we just want to give people the option to use all of them. It's a lot of people use Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is quite funny. Like, we thought most people would just use ChatGPT, but it's actually not the most used anymore on our service now, despite it being like by far the most well-known.
But what should I use Claude, for example? What
Um,
ask? What question
so
should
I
I ask?
use Claude. So it's quite funny. We build NanoGPT using our own website because Claude
Mhm.
is quite good at coding. So we can just have it help us
Oh, that's so
improve the
cool. I
website.
forgot about this, that you learn to code by yourself.
Yeah, not by myself, with the help of Claude and ChatGPT.
Yeah,
But
a better developer now. That's pretty cool, Milan.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun. I feel like many people overestimate how difficult it is to get started with coding. You can
Hmm.
just start and then you run into an error and you ask Claude or ChatGPT, explain to me what is happening here and how I
Yeah, yeah.
should improve it. And it just works really well.
Okay, I will stop sharing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
I started to learn coding at some point in my life, before the ChatGPT, and I hated it because I didn't know what I was doing wrong, but
Yeah, yeah,
would not run, and I feel so frustrated every time because I feel like an idiot, like I'm stuck at this point and I don't know how to proceed. But now with ChatGPT, I started again to learn coding, and then I would say, what am I doing wrong? Okay, this is wrong, for
yeah.
example, I would say, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
it works really well, I think. That's how I started learning as well. Just
yeah.
have it tell me what an idiot I am for trying something and then be like, maybe try this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was joking because I have a co-founder for NanoGPT. And yesterday we were joking how far we've gotten with just the two of us. Like it's
Yeah.
growing really nicely, so it's nice. And then we were like, let's be honest, it's not the two of us. It's like you, me, Claude, and Claude. Because both of us are just using
Yeah.
Claude all day for everything. So yeah, it's
I
quite
heard
funny.
this expression, Milan, somewhere. You can be a better coder with ChatGPT or by AI, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
not
Yeah.
not just a good coder, but better one.
Yeah,
And I agree
honestly,
with that. Yeah.
yeah, for me it's definitely more than doubled my efficiency. Like way more than doubled, I think. It's
Problem
crazy.
solving as well. Maybe it helps more to help you solve problems faster or
Yeah.
easier in a way.
Yeah, definitely. It's really weird now for me to imagine how people used to do coding before these
Right?
models were there. It's
I
man,
know.
you would have to go to Stack Overflow or something and look it up and
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, no, this is actually 7 years old, so I need a more recent one. And hey ChatGPT, hey
Yeah.
Claude. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
and just by following your intellectual curiosity, like you have a question, you want to find an answer, you just go there and dig deep. And before I struggle and I lose the motivation, to be honest. I'm not the type of person who I get bored at some point.
I think the variety of stuff you can ask it is also really cool because we were traveling a while back and I would just use it constantly to ask about stuff we saw in cities. Like this
Oh, okay.
building, can you tell me
Yeah,
more about this building? And it would explain the
yeah.
building. But
Mhm.
then in the explanation, there would be something about the family that had built the building. Then I'm like, oh, can you tell me more about this family? And it's
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
go as deep as you want or go on a different branch. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
really cool.
Yeah. My dad loves ChatGPT. I bought him the subscription
Oh,
and he
yeah.
uses it for random things, mostly for his own curiosity, and he uses in Albanian language. And first, I was afraid that we cannot use in Albanian, mostly in English. But apparently, he can do that pretty
Yeah.
well, and he loves it. And every time he has a problem with my mom or debating, ChatGPT doesn't say that. Use it as a
That's
proof.
so funny.
My mom gets so angry over that. Don't tell me about ChatGPT.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
but he's saying something different. Like,
Yeah, yeah. ChatGPT is always right.
he's always right. Mira, yeah, that's my mom's name, by the way.
Yeah.
Mira, you're wrong. This is what ChatGPT is saying. You should know
It's
that. Don't you know that? Like,
yeah, it's quite funny. It's not always right. That's the most annoying part. Like sometimes it will still make mistakes, but not that many anymore. It
yeah,
used to be slightly unreliable, but nowadays for most stuff, it's yeah, quite reliable. But yeah, about the base question, by the way, it's funny because we also accept base.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
base now is getting a lot of attention, and I wanted to apply yesterday. They opened a second cohort for Blueprint, is called, funny enough, Brian Johnson, and it's about gathering many content creators on chain, and they have a possibility to earn Ethereum around 30K USD, and you get to be trained or mentored by Dan Ramiro or other big names, which I don't remember now. I apologize. My brain doesn't work very well with names, but and then
yeah,
I
it's pretty
was
cool.
and I wanted to tell to somebody, hey, please apply here, and then they asked me, so what is base? And I'm like, okay, I can send this reply, like it's a reply.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the Base, the guys came by here at the network
Yeah,
school like
yeah,
a few weeks
Jesse
back.
Pollack with, yeah,
Yeah. So we decided to add Base to our payment options as well.
that's pretty
To be
cool.
honest, it's not used as much as we had thought because we thought, okay, everyone is sort of using Base now. But the
Yeah.
fun part is people have built on-chain bots as well,
Mhm.
on Base as well, I think. And they use our API because it's like the on-chain bots use AI to reply to people.
Oh wow, I didn't know
So
that.
we have people who are paying in Base to use an on-Base chain AI. It's really cool. It's really fun to see.
Pretty cool. Oh,
Yeah,
you should say that on Farcaster. uh,
yeah, yeah.
Definitely, this is fun. But is that like a very popular cryptocurrency payment people use now in Nano, or you don't know yet?
It's so we actually released payment statistics like 2 days ago
Okay, sorry about that.
for
I didn't.
November.
Yeah.
Just ones were used most.
Mm-hmm.
I let me open it real quick, but Base was actually not used that much.
Mm-hmm.
We had to combine all of the Ethereum layer twos because otherwise it would just be too few to even show up in the statistics.
Yeah, yeah. Not just for fun. You don't have to remember it.
No, it's 3.2% spread over Ethereum plus all the Ethereum layer twos
Oh, okay.
as volume of total transactions. And then for context, for example, Nano was about 51%, Monero was 22%.
I'm so
So
surprised Monero is 20%. Who
yeah,
uses Monero?
yes, I think because our
Not
service
hating
is
it. Yeah.
yeah, I think our service is quite privacy oriented, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Monero is very privacy oriented. So I think many Monero users really appreciate having that privacy. It makes sense in a way, but I think it's quite funny because we also at the network school here, we were surrounded by people who are like smart contracts and NFTs and meme coins
yeah.
and tokens. But to be honest, the use where we see most usage is like the old chains because it's like Nano, it's Monero, it's Bitcoin Cash. I think we also, let me see what the other ones. Yeah, Bitcoin itself, even though we don't have Lightning, and then Litecoin. But yeah, Solana, for example, and Ethereum and layer twos are
Mhm.
relatively small in terms of how much they're
That's
actually used
surprising.
on our website. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I'm happy you have so many different user base, and crypto is used now as a payment for
Yeah.
NanoGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
that's very cool. I still have the balance. Thank you so much for giving that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, yeah. I was testing because I like to test Grok with ChatGPT, and now I want to use NanoGPT. And first, I thought Grok is not as developed or not as good as ChatGPT. It's good for roasting people, but not, for example, when you write articles and you want to fix some stuff. ChatGPT is more precise on that, and
Okay.
Grok doesn't do very well. So I was testing with NanoGPT yesterday with a question, and I did it on 3 parts.
Oh,
And I
that's funny.
wanted to see. Yeah, I like to compare even with Perplexity and Claude
Yeah.
for writing, not for coding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we, because we have an API, someone
Mhm.
built an implementation called multi-prompt, where essentially they use our API and let you select multiple models at the same time, and then they do the same question and put them side by side, all the answers.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, because we have all of the models, so you can just have
Yeah.
all of them output. And we
And
really want to add that to the website as well, that you can just have multiple side by
yeah,
side,
would be
because
beautiful.
yeah, and also someone else, this is like last week, came out with Battle of the Coins or battleofcoins.com, which is similar to multi-prompt, but like you tell it which coins you want to compare and on which metrics. And
Oh,
then it will ask like 5 different AIs and have them discuss and battle it out to like
that's so
conclude which one
cool.
does best. Like for example, you say, I want to have the most secure crypto or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then it fires it off to 5 different AIs and it asks them to give a top five, and then you
Mhm.
get some different answers, and then like they just discuss. It's honestly really funny to see.
Oh my
Um,
God, I would love to see that. Just out of curiosity, this is so fun.
yeah, yeah, it's called battleofcoins.com, and you can just yeah,
Battleofcoins.com.
you
Okay.
can just plug in our API key, which you
Yeah.
have one now, I think, because you have a balance, and then you can just have them compare. And
Yeah, I will
you,
try. Maybe after this call, I will try. I'm not a very technical person, but I will ask NanoGPT to help me
oh, trust
to
me, it's
do that.
super simple. And otherwise, I'll help
Matter
you
of
out.
points. I hope it's not like scam website or something, Milan.
There's no need to connect anything, I think,
Yeah,
except for NanoGPT then. But you have a few dollars in NanoGPT.
yeah,
So
yeah.
worst case, it's
Five
worst.
dollars gone. What? Losing
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. My last question for you, Milan, is about your Ironman participation. I love, by the way, I didn't know that you were so fit and into the sports. I saw you are very thin and like muscly, but never thought you would be on Ironman. How many years have you been doing this?
I did a marathon in 2019, I think. That was like the first, or 2020?
Okay.
2019, I think.
Since working with Dutch government bank, basically.
I had so much time because we don't work very hard at the central
Yeah.
bank.
You get the
But
pension and the safe salary, the best life.
exactly, yeah. No, so I did a marathon back then, and I've done a few since. And then I have a good friend in the Netherlands, and she is extremely fit and into sports. And we thought it would be fun to do a half Ironman. It's just a half one,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was super challenging to do
Yeah, yeah,
because you swim 2 kilometers pretty much, I think, and then bike 90 kilometers, and then you run a half marathon. So it took
yeah.
5.5 hours or something. But yeah, it was really tough. It's
Oh my God. After
by the
that,
end,
like that, like you want
yeah,
to rest and eat and yeah.
yes, exactly. And you have cramps everywhere, and then like if there's a tiny hill, your legs are like, no, we're not doing
I'm
this.
gonna go there, yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
but but yeah, it was cool to do. I want to do a full Ironman sometime, but
Hmm.
doing a full Ironman is like a part-time job, pretty much. You need to train like 20 hours a week and
That's insane.
optimize
Wow.
all your
Yeah.
nutrition and everything. But yeah, it's fun. It's a good challenge.
I think it's also maybe a mental challenge. I'm not sure for you, but for me, when I do sports, it's more like testing my endurance. And also, I get this dopamine afterwards. Like, I feel so energetic and I feel, you know what? I'm like, I worth 1 million bucks. I'm so cool. I don't know. When I
Yeah,
get out of there, do you have the same feeling or am
yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Afterwards is always very nice. During the
yeah,
workout, you're like, ah, I'm so done with this. Or you're running and you've done 5 kilometers and you have to do another five, and you're like, oh, it's
yeah,
taking forever. But afterwards, you always feel good. One of the things I like about the network school actually, it's just okay, you work out every morning. It's for
yeah.
me now, it's not a question. It's just okay, I have to work out every morning.
It's
uh,
just a habit basically now. It's
yeah,
become.
yeah, it's a habit. It feels like it's not a choice anymore. Like even so, I had calls until very late last night, like
Oh,
2:30 a.m. And then it's still okay, have to work out. Like it's
yeah,
you don't sleep in and skip the workout for a day. You always go.
yeah,
You keep fit and you're mentally sharper, I think, because of
yeah. I
the
think so.
workouts as well. Yeah.
I will tell you a little story. When I started to live in Japan, I was very depressed at the time because I was alone. I didn't have friends. I don't have family. Like, literally, I am alone. Throw me somewhere in the world and know nothing about society. And then I thought, I have time. What should I do? And then I read this book of Haruki Murakami, is like a famous Japanese author. He was author, but also like a runner. He does marathons. And the book was like, what do I think when I run? And I start to read, I get this intense feeling like I need to start to run. And I'm not even like active. And I start to run and I'm dying. I'm telling you, first day is so bad. I do the second day, third day. And then within 3 months, I was doing 10 kilometers without any issues. But what that did to my mental health was insane. Like from depression, like so alone, so upset, it gave me this strength and better decision maker in a way. Like I
Yeah.
was very sharp in the brain. Like I could do much better, and I was scoring like because I was studying Japanese at the time. I was bad first in Japanese, and then I skyrocket.
Yeah.
I was like, "Why is this happening?" And apparently, it's because of the running or like
Yeah.
physical health. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It helps, right? I'm not sure which podcast this was, but I remember Peter, I think it was, who said, if you're feeling down, go lift. Like
yeah,
just go do some workout. That it's
definitely.
easier said than done, I think, for some people because they're like so down that they're like, I cannot go and do anything.
Yeah.
But I do think it helps. It's just your body wants to be active in a way. So,
You need to
you
train
know,
your brain as well and muscle. If you don't train it, you lose it.
yeah,
My culture before, like I'm talking like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if you are skinny and if you want to go to gym, people are like, you're insane. Gym is only for fat people. Oh my god, I will be canceled by saying fat people. But the point is, you go to gym because losing weight, and that's what I thought as well at the time. And now it's no, it's not about losing weight. It's about becoming stronger, and it's about having mental clarity.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tell to my parents, like, you need to walk or do exercise, and they say gym is not for us. You drive me nuts, Mila.
It's a different attitude, I think. It's but honest, it's quite nice about being here because here you have a lot of people who work out, so it helps. I think if you're around people who feel like they need to work out every day, then you also get more motivated.
You get
Because
motivated, and you feel a
yeah,
little bit shy if you don't do those. How to say, like,
yes,
guilt, or I don't know how to explain that better. Yeah,
yeah, I think so too.
yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for today. I love chatting with you. It was one
Yeah,
of the
thank you.
most chill podcasts I have done so far, in the sense I feel very good, like vibing with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was very chill.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.